Hey everybody, Justin out here in Utah with the RC group. Had a bunch of questions on the Facebook groups, MotionRC fan media, and a bunch of the forums about some of the detail and add-on we've been doing some of the aircraft out here. Jeremy Solt did a great video of the repaint of the L-39 Albatross. I decided I'd put together this video for you guys showing some of the panel line detailing. You can do some of the rivet work you can do to bring a stock Freewing bird, which is a great aircraft, up to the next level in detail. I've been out of the hobby for about 18 years until 2 years ago. My first aircraft back was the Freewing T-45. It was a pretty big step for jumping back into RC. My second one was a gray F-16 just like this one. It got dinged up a little bit, so I got a new one. I'm going to show you guys how to put some extra detail in it. Really bring this aircraft out. You know, stock, it's a great airplane. It looks really good just stock the way it is. But you can put a lot of detail in it. So we're going to do a couple shots here, show you how I did the panel line work, some of the weathering work, and some of the things we used on it. Hope you guys like it. Okay guys, so as we get into this and show you how to do a little bit of the stippling for the panel lines, you can see I've already started there. One of the real keys to this process is not overdoing it. And what I mean by that is you have a layer of paint and then you have the foam underneath. Your goal should be to push that paint back into the foam without breaking through that paint layer into the foam. It'll be easier to finish it off, it's easier to weather it. When you press clear through the paint into the foam, sometimes the white foam will show through, and then you got to cover that up. So as you can see, I started there, and you can use a ruler if you want. I'm not that exact about it. You don't have to be. Generally, somebody standing a few feet above this thing out at the field, they're just going to admire all the hard work you put into it. It doesn't have to be exact. But especially if you have a flexible ruler, you can lay that on some of these curved surfaces here, and you can really get it even on those indentations in the foam if you want to. So we're going to show you how to do that here real quick. I'm just going to take this panel line. Again, this will all be weathered later with some thinned out acrylic black paint, but I'm just going to start up here, and as you can see, I weathered the canopy there just slightly earlier, and I'm pressing into the foam. I'm trying to go equidistant between the points and equidistant from the vertical panel line that's here. You will see that it's leaving just a little bit of ink on some of the dots, and that's fine. Because you're going to go over it again with black acrylic paint that is very thinned out, and you're going to let that paint fill up these little divots and indentations you're doing. Part of the water in that thinned out paint will evaporate, and then once it does, it'll leave just enough color. You wipe backwards with a paper towel, and it'll give a really nice streaked and weathered effect on the aircraft. So as you can see there, it only took that long to do that one line of rivet detail there. I'm going to go on the other side. I'm going to try and keep it even. And again, if it's not perfectly even, nobody's going to notice. If they do notice, well, we all know that type. So again, just trying to keep it equidistant from the line, equidistant between the dots. If you have a thin piece of cardboard or plastic that's flexible, you can lay it up here and mark on it the distance between the rivets you want. And I'm doing evenly spaced rivets exactly across from each other. The F-16, if you go online to some of the resources, what it'll have is it'll have an indentation on this side, and then it'll drop down to the other side a little bit lower, and it goes back and forth. And some of my panels are like that, especially along the leading edge of the wing, but you can see there, it's very effective, it's very simple to do. It doesn't take that much time for the effect that you get out of it. All right, everybody, so the next step in the process here is to do some thinned out acrylic paint. You can get acrylic paints everywhere, your local craft store or whatnot. I actually find most of mine at the local Walmart. They have them for $1 a bottle. And I got a little bit bigger bottle. I'm using an 8 fluid ounce one, but that's because I do so much painting and work that I got a bigger one. But when you get the smaller bottles, they're literally only $1 a piece. So what I have here is a little cup full of water, just a little bit in the bottom. And as you'll see here, I'm going to put just the smallest amount of black paint dropped into it. And that, guys, is literally all it is, that fresh dab there. You can see I had some black paint in here before, but put that fresh dab in there, and you don't want a lot, you want just a little bit with a lot of water. So then you just mix that around. Cheap brushes, I think I got those at Walmart when I got the paint. And 6, 8 brushes were like $2 or $3. So again, you stir it in, it looks really black. If you hadn't done it before, you might be a little bit nervous about painting this on your airplane. But one of the beauties is it's not acrylic paint that comes on these Freewing airplanes. And when you use these acrylic paints, you can wipe them right off if you're not happy with the effect. So we'll put that down. I got some of the wash loaded up, and I'm literally just going to put some on this vertical panel line right here. I'm gonna put some on the horizontal as well. And again, I've already done this on the other side of the aircraft. The other side of the aircraft's completely done. And you'll notice that when you do it right and you press into the foam just the right amount, you'll wipe over it here, and due to a suction effect of the water, it will suck that watered down black paint right into those holes. It'll give it a really nice effect. That lower line there, it looks a little too dark. Trust me, it is so thinned out that once it dries, you'll probably want to do extra layers of it. Actually, it's not going to be dark enough. So again, all you do, wipe across the lines when you can. So this horizontal one, I'm going to wipe across it that way, and then wipe the excess off. You can see how it left a nice little dark line there. And every one of my rivet details I basically did there, indented, wipe horizontally across those, and you can see it's got a really nice effect. Sometimes it's not dark enough, so you'll go back. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 times. And what you really want to do is you want to get some of that thinned out acrylic black paint in there and let it dry, sometimes up to 2 or 3 minutes before you try and wipe it away. Otherwise, you'll just be wiping the paint right out of the holes, especially if you didn't do them too deep. And again, if you go back here and look right here, I've put the rivet detail in, but I haven't put the wash on it yet to show you the difference there. All right, guys, so I'm going to include some still pictures because they're generally clearer than the video of the detail work I've done here. But we're just going to go around the jet really quick. Again, the panel lines stippled in there with the tip of a ballpoint pen. Gone through afterwards with some very thinned out black acrylic. You're really just going to have to play with it. Once that's on, you let it dry just slightly again, and once the paint's dried down into the little divots that you've put into the foam, you just wipe back with a paper towel and you wipe the excess off. And again, you can see here all the detail that's on this side. It looks fantastic. It's one of the beauties of foam. One of the downsides of foam, of course, is it shows all the little dings and dents you get in it. One of the beauties of foam, though, is that you can put some of those dings and dents in yourself, and you get this really good panel relief effect. We're going to go around the other side here, show you the stock here to show you the difference. Again, a very good looking aircraft stock, straight out of the box. Freewing and MotionRC have brought everybody a great product in this aircraft. It is a little bit older, but it's still a very, very beautiful model. Flies very well once you get used to flying it. But you can see there, it's a little bit plain Jane stock. And with just a little effort, a little bit of work, you can put a lot of detail in it. And we'll just go up here. You can see the difference between the stock on the right and the detailed on the left. Another quick modification to show you guys. Again, I'm just working here on my kitchen counter at home. I'm actually getting ready to head down to the Arizona Electric Festival down there at Superstition Air Park. So trying to get this aircraft ready to go down there. As you can see, I did the panel line weathering on the bottom. As it gets towards the bottom, the thinned out black acrylic paint will pool down lower. Now, on a real aircraft, that's also where hydraulic fluids and other things pool and give weathering effect. So it's pretty realistic. You just want to make sure you don't get a ton of paint collecting down there and leaving some really big spots that don't look quite right. The one thing I wanted to show you guys here is the gear doors and the landing gear itself. Again, stock Freewing jet looks beautiful, but the gear comes aluminum, and it's aluminum color because they haven't painted it. So I masked off the shock strut on the nose tire there, right here, as you can see, and I also did it on the mains back there. And after I masked it off, I hit it with some Rust-Oleum gray primer. I let that set up a little bit, and then I went over it with white Rust-Oleum paint. This Rust-Oleum paint has been very good to the foam. I've never seen it damage the foam in using it. And then I masked off the landing light there. We'll show you that here in a second with all the lights on and the completed look of the aircraft. All right, guys, so all the lights on, shot of all the finished work for the left side of the aircraft. The gear doors, the landing gear have been painted. I masked off the lens on the landing light there and painted around that. It looks fantastic. It adds a lot to the detail of the aircraft, just a little bit of work. The weathered panel lines, it all comes together, especially with those lights on. Again, I've just been sitting here in my living room, weathering as I watch TV, just burning the day away. And the effect, all the time invested, it looks really spectacular on the aircraft. It's definitely worth the time and effort. And if you've never done it before, don't be afraid. Anybody can do this. It takes a little time and patience, but anybody really can do this kind of work. So again, guys, this Freewing 90mm F-16, it's a great jet stock. It looks beautiful. Just showing you here on some of the work that I did on how you can bring a bunch of the detail out, really make this aircraft pop and look alive. Just went online, found resources on image searches for panel lines, weathering, whatnot. Keep in mind, everybody's gonna have a little bit different taste on how much weathering you do. Some people like a really bold look that up close, you know, it looks like it might be over weathered, but it looks really good in the air. And then other people want a static model that looks good up close, that you won't see near as much of that once it's cruising by at about 100 miles an hour. I tried to go in the middle and give it some relief that you would see just sitting stock on the ground, and something to make it look a little bit different in the air. A little bit of a two-faced look there with the old nose cone, showing the gray primer we used. It's just gray Rust-Oleum primer. Really easy to do and paint that up. It gives a really good contrast to the stock nose, and it really makes the nose of the aircraft pop. You can see the difference there on the nose with the darker being the one we painted. So again, guys, we'll put more videos together for you in the future. Some of the other projects, detail work we're doing, and hope everybody enjoyed it. Thanks again.